I am always on the lookout for microphones that offer exceptional value for their price. Today we are going to unbox the Maono PD200x, which is among the most feature-packed microphones in the sub $100 category. Maono did send me this microphone, but everything I say in this video are my words and thoughts only. Could the Maono PD200x be the latest budget king of microphones? There's only one way to find out. Let the unboxing begin. Okay, so here we got the box. Let's open it. Huh? Ooh, this is different. Maono, global best-selling internet microphone. Interesting positioning there. This is a horizontal unboxing experience. Ooh, okay. We got the user manual. It's really thick. For a microphone with this many features, this might actually come in handy. And the actual microphone. Look at that. That is shiny. This feels pretty solid. You got this USB cable, and this is a familiar design. Look how thick that cable is. That cable is substantial. Whoa. I cannot get over how long these cables are. I can't even spread it to its full length. It might be the first time this has ever happened. And the great thing about this cable is that it comes in USB Type A and USB Type C. The adapter is built in and you will never lose it. Now for reference, this is the cable from the Maono DM30. It's also got Type A and Type C. The other end of the cable that comes with the Maono DM30 has an angular end, whereas the PD200X cable has a straight end, but the PD200X cable is significantly longer. It also comes with a 5/8" male to 3/8" female thread adapter, which helps you mount it to a boom arm like this one. On the microphone itself, you have an included shock mount. The shock mount is removable if you unscrew it, but as you can see, the area underneath the shock mount is recessed, so it might look strange if you take it off. The PD200X does have USB-C and XLR connectivity, and you got this 2-in-1 digital knob that lets you set the microphone gain and headphone volume. And as for the mute button, we just press it like so to stop hearing me. Very tactile. You have a 3.5mm jack for your headphones and a button to control your RGB. And the microphone with the shock mount weighs 311.9 grams. For reference, the Fifine K688 weighs 319.3 grams with a shock mount. And here are the design differences of these microphones in case that matters to you. All right, let's try the PD200X. First, let's try it in USB-C mode. We plug this end into this port over here, nice and snug, and this goes straight into my computer's USB port. It's glowing. This RGB is refreshing. Let's try that RGB button. Ooh. Solid colors. I like this sky blue. Very nice. From solid colors, you got this whole gradient right here. I could stare at this all day. All right, I have switched to the Maono, and this is how that would look. But you're still hearing me on my DJI mic, and that is going to change in 3, 2, 1. All right, we are now using the Maono PD200X. This is USB-C mode, so we are using the preamps in the Maono itself. So to set the microphone gain, make sure the light around the knob is set to green, and the more intense the green color is, the louder the gain is. Let's lower that gain a little bit, and we can change the headphone volume when it's set to blue. The loudness will be sufficient if you're using low impedance headphones like the Audio-Technica ATH series. Now for the mic audio itself, it's got a nice signal-to-noise ratio. You can hear that it's got some excellent clarity, but out of the box, it does feel it's got an overly sharpened top end. The proximity effect here is actually fairly minimal. It doesn't sound too muddy, but I think this is going to sound fantastic when we use the Maono Link software. Quick plosive test. Pesky peas perpetuate problematic plosives. It is hard to pop this thing. Pop, pop, pop. I mean, you can hear the bursts of air, but I'm not seeing any distortion in the actual waveforms. All right, let's try USB-C mode with the Maono Link software. Okay, we are now using the Maono Link software, and this is brilliant. It's showing the PD200X right there. Let's click that. Ooh. Did something change? Something changed. I'm just imagining things. So with the Maono Link software, we can control the microphone. Here we can set the gain like so. We can hear my volume go up and down, and that is affecting gain on a hardware level. We can turn mic monitoring off and on. I can't hear myself right now. Now I can hear myself again. Headphone volume here. Now here's where the magic of the software comes in. We have original, We can set it to deep. Huh. That is different. And this is natural. And this is legacy. Interesting. Let's do a quick test here. I lowered my gain to prevent clipping. Original. I want to be the very best like no one ever was. Natural. I want to be the very best like no one ever was. Deep. I want to be the very best like no one ever was. Legacy. I want to be the very best like no one ever was. And now a sustained sound. Okay, I think I might actually like original audio best, but for the sake of this test, I'm gonna use deep, because my voice could use a bit more presence. So we can control the RGB right here. Oh, the color changed. The level of brightness of the RGB colors, and in advanced mode, we also got the same settings. We got gain, headphone volume, and we got EQ. This is set to the flat profile, which sounds pretty much the same as the standard profile. I am switching back and forth between flat EQ and standard, and this is with a high pass filter on. You can hear that it removes some of the lows in my voice, which does get rid of unnecessary rumble noises. This here is a presence boost. I don't know what frequencies exactly are being boosted, and this is when you combine the high pass filter and the presence boost. Here you have a limiter to prevent your audio from clipping. I would select -1, and now you can technically shout to your heart's content without clipping your audio, but it can still distort on a physical level. Now for the compressor, because you can only set the threshold, I personally would not use it, and I would just stick to the limiter. Okay, we're now using the Maono PD200x in XLR mode with the Motu M2 as its audio interface. How does that sound? How do I sound at roughly 3 inches away from the mic, 6 inches away from the microphone, and roughly a foot away from the microphone? The sound is fairly balanced as I move back and forth. With me far away, I'm gonna raise the gain a bit, and I'm gonna get close and lower the gain, and get close again. The proximity effect isn't very pronounced, so that means even when you speak up close, your voice is gonna be very clear. Now just note that when you are in XLR mode, you might think that you'd plug in the USB cable so you get that RGB, but you're gonna hear this interference. Yeah, let's not. Also, in XLR mode, I could not get the Maono Link software to work. So in XLR mode, what you hear is what you get. Okay, let's talk about the pros and cons. First pro, the sound is good EQ-wise. Not balanced, but you can see that they optimized it for clarity by boosting the highs. You've got a touch of punch in the bass region without it being overly muddy, and here's an interesting technical choice. The proximity effect isn't too pronounced, so you're gonna sound clear whether you're near or far or wherever you are. Second pro, the signal-to-noise ratio is excellent. The preamps and A to D converters in this microphone are pretty good. You can get a professional noise floor of -60 dB that is very quiet, while your spoken word audio is all the way up to -1 dB without a compressor. To illustrate that, I'm speaking very closely to the microphone, and this part is unedited, and you can listen to the silence right now. You get a nice clean sound with not a lot of noise coming from the microphone itself, and you will not be needing a gain booster like a Fethead or Cloud Lifter. Pro 3, 24-bit audio. Maono's had this with their mics for quite some time, but having 24-bit in a USB microphone with XLR expandability that comes with software at this price point, that is unheard of. Guys, the Behringer UMC22 is a dedicated audio interface that only goes up to 16-bit and costs $69. This has a 24-bit audio interface jammed inside of it, costs just a little more. And you also get a modern microphone with all these accessories. 24-bit audio expands dynamic range, lowers your noise floor, and gives more room for post-processing. Pro 4, it takes plosives like a champ. Likely because of this really thick pop filter. To give you a sense of how thick this is the pop filter on the Fifine K688. K688 pop filter, torch on my phone, right there. You can see it right there. I'm gonna take this out and replace it. That is thick. This is the Fifine AM8 pop filter. Just a tiny bit of light passing through. Back to the Maono PD200x pop filter. and I cannot see any light passing through. The glitters look like they're texture from the foam. Oh, what do you know? This is a sound of its own without the pop filter. I actually like this. Now, the thickness of a pop filter would normally cause a more muffled sound, but the boosted highs help retain clarity. Pro number 5, and this is a big one. The included cable works with the microphone out of the box, and you do not need to buy a new one. That alone makes it easier to recommend the Maono PD200x over similar microphones in the market, such as the Fifine K688 and Fifine AM8. I do love those microphones for their raw sound quality and how they're EQ'd, but you need to buy a separate USB 3.0 cable to get them to work in USB mode. The Maono PD200x does not have that problem. Let's talk about the cons. I did say that the EQ for this mic is generally good, but I do feel that the boosted highs feel a touch artificial and grainy. It's not as piercing as the Fifine K688's highs, so I wouldn't consider it a deal breaker. That grainy quality doesn't fatigue my ears too much, but I do wish they'd tamed them a bit. And for the second con, the mute button is noisy. I mean, listen. The reason why other companies create a tap to mute button instead of a tactile button with a lot of travel is because that would inevitably create a clicking noise. Con 3, the Maono Link software had negligible impact on this microphone's audio. When I used the Maono Link software on the Maono DM30, I loved the various sound profiles. For example, deep made it actually sound deep without being muddy. But for the Maono PD200x, the deep setting actually made it sound muddy, and natural and presence boost made it sound too thin to me. So I actually liked original mode best. Now, I wouldn't call the Maono Link software useless because I would still use its limiter, which prevents clipping. But I do wish it were more useful than that. Since the software detects the microphone anyway, it would be great if they had EQ profiles designed specifically for their microphones. Con 4, you can't use XLR mode with RGB. Whenever I was in XLR mode and I plugged in the USB cable for the RGB, there was this unpleasant static noise that I couldn't get rid of. Con 5, it has massive Maono branding on it. It's also on the other side, and there's a tiny one at the back. It's not just the size of the branding, but how the colors pop out. Look at this white over here versus the Maono PD100. And on the PD100, you only get one large Maono, but on the PD200x, 2 large white ones. They're likely reducing advertising costs by making the mic itself the ad, so branding is just something to note in case that matters to you. Now for my recommendation. I can recommend this microphone to podcasters, streamers, and gamers. They would benefit from the fact that this microphone is designed for maximum clarity and minimal plosives. Voice actors can definitely use this microphone in a freelancing context where more standard microphones are not expected. Overall, the Maono PD200x is a one-of-a-kind deal in the market right now. No other USB dynamic microphone with XLR expandability at this price point comes with 24-bit audio, software, and a USB cable that actually works with a microphone. If you're looking for your very first microphone with the ability to upgrade to an XLR setup later on, the Maono PD200x offers incredible value and is definitely worth considering. If you like videos like this, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. But we're not done yet because here is another video.